Hi, my name is Jennifer Pankowski. I am the Program Coordinator for Special Education at Pace University.
And I'm Peter McDermott. I'm a literacy educator at Pace University. And why did we do this slideshow, Jennifer?
We're going to be providing tips and different strategies for taking the ALST Teacher Certification Exam.
And we did this in an abbreviated fashion because we heard some students are retaking the exam, and we thought this might help them.
Exactly. This is more of a crash course on how to get your grades up so that you can get into that pass range.
So when you're thinking about taking the exam, you should understand what's on the exam. So there's two major parts, reading and writing.
That's correct. Understanding the format to an exam is probably the most crucial part. A lot of the material is going to be reviewed from high school and your undergraduate degrees, but knowing the reading comprehension and writing comprehension components will be very useful for this exam. The reading comprehension component consists of 40 multiple choice items, which is a combination of reading passages and short multiple choice questions.
The writing consists of 3 essays. 2 are called focused responses, and they're a maximum of 200 words. In addition, there's an extended response essay, and that's up to, I think, between 200 and 400 words.
With regard to the reading comprehension, there's logical inferences and conclusions that you're making based upon the evidence that you're seeing in the actual passage. So you want to ask yourself, how and why individuals and ideas interact over a text. You want to interpret the words and phrases within the context. And you want to understand the author's point of view.
Now in writing, it's very much like the Common Core state standards, and with a heavy emphasis on writing arguments. So we have a slide later, we'll talk about the organization of an argument. But you should study how to write an argument clearly, because that will really help you get through the exam. And the second aspect of the writing is document-based questions. So you'll see several documents that you have to analyze, identify what the author's saying, and think about the evidence that's being presented. And the topic I notice right here is this true, mostly social studies kinds of?
Exactly. A lot of the people that are taking these exams, if you were in school during the Common Core transition or in this age of assessment, you'll be familiar with document-based questions from regional social studies exams.
Yeah, that's right.
They use them very heavily. So maybe the content of these particular reading passages and writing passages will be slightly different. You'll be able to use those same strategies from your DBQs in social studies high school.
Right. Then I noticed there were also graphs, charts, and tables on the exam.
Exactly. There's a lot of pie charts, bar charts, different types of graphs that you should be familiar with. X and Y axis, your basic graph interpretations from math.
So here are some tips on taking the exams. So these tips are based on some slideshows that we've seen posted on the state education website and some tips that we heard from students who have previously taken an exam and were successful with it.
So one of the most important things is to do the written response before the multiple choice item. Often what we're hearing is students are simply running out of time to take the exams. It's a lot of writing, so if you're able to complete the written component first, it allows you to have the time left over for the multiple choice course.
And then a test-taking strategy is read the questions before you read the identified paragraphs. And on the exam, this will be online, so you'll have a split screen. One side will be the paragraphs, and the other side will be the questions.
Exactly. Also, read the choices before reading the related text. That gives you an idea of what you should be paying close attention to and looking for while you're reading the text.
And when you read the text, you'll receive a whiteboard. Write down keywords and phrases that will help you answer the questions that are posed to you.
So, question-specific strategies for the ALST. Don't over-rely on vocabulary knowledge. A lot of times we will suggest that you understand the roots of words, but don't rely entirely on that. Also, focus on the meaning of the content. And write down the main idea of each paragraph for reference as you're reading it.
There's a great emphasis on reading and writing with evidence. And so if you see quoted material in the choice items, look very closely for evidence supporting those items. Try to make sure you understand the theme of each of the passages, and again, make sure there's evidence in the passage that relates to your choice.
Exactly.
So there's a number of different ways of looking at how to organize an argument, and this comes from an English educator, Peter Smagorinsky, and you have a thesis statement, you see in the top, and then you have a claim. So an example of that, a claim might be, children shouldn't be drinking soft drinks, right, because of all, and then the evidence is there's too much sugar in soft drinks. Another claim would be schools shouldn't have candy machines. And the evidence for that, there's increased obesity in schools and children are spending money on junk food. And then the warrant for this position statement, the position statement would be we want our students to eat healthy and remove junk food from schools. The warrant is because there's so much soda and candy in schools, our children are becoming obese and developing early onset diabetes. Now there's another area of how to look at an argument essay is that the ALST will want you to write about a counter argument. So you'll have to have an opposing point of view. An opposing point of view about diet might be, well, children have to learn to develop choice because when they become adolescents and adults, there's a lot of difficult choices they need to make. So I don't believe that, but that's in terms of diet. But that could be the counter argument.
Exactly. One of the really important components here is this rule of 3. Giving yourself 3 claims and 3 pieces of evidence provides you with a solid essay for this component without overwhelming your reader.
Very good. Here's another way of looking at an argument essay. So it's in paragraph form. You have a claim. You might write qualifiers, most, all, many, and then you're going to have evidence. And the rule for evidence is it's sufficient, credible, and accurate. Then again, you would have a counter argument or rebuttal and a conclusion.
Exactly. Okay. When you outline your response, use the following format. Strong statement of your own opinion as to which side is better. That's going to be your argument. So your first point is in agreement with your opinion. These are going to be your claims and your evidence. And then you're going to have your second point, which is your rebuttal or your countering argument that would go secondary.
And I see the third point would be the same, and that's earlier you talked about having 3 points.
Yes, a rule of 3 is always a good balance.
Great. And then when you present the counter argument or rebuttal, you present it the same way. The claim and the evidence, claim and evidence. And then what is your position given the 2 points of view? This is what I think. And then you have a conclusion statement.
Exactly. A lot of the ALST essays are asking for you to compare documents or compare viewpoints.
And this was a tool we found on one of the slideshows that either Delphi or BOCE had shared with teachers. And so while you're reading, you could write down 3 supporting points from reading about a particular position, and then write 3 pieces of evidence supporting those points of view. And then, on the contrary, when you're trying to think of counter arguments or rebuttals, write down the 3 claims or points and 3 pieces of evidence.
By organizing your information this way, you don't need to go back to the original document for when you're actually constructing the essay. You can rely on your chart to construct the essay based upon what you've already extracted from the document. This saves a lot of time.
And that rule of 3 applies here too. Huh?
Yes.
And here's an example extended response on the ALST.
So, should the production of corn ethanol in the United States be expanded or reduced? For anyone not familiar, that's similar to what they're putting ethanol 85, which is a new fuel source for some of these flex fuel cars.
Oh, yeah.
This one is the extended response, so it's looking for 400 to 600 words. That is not as long as sometimes people think. 400 to 600 words is roughly a page to a page and a half typed.
Right.
You don't need to go on to 3 to 5 page essays for these responses. You would include knowledgeable claim that demonstrates the understanding of the topic. So, again, what is corn ethanol? What is it used for? The document is likely going to give you some of this information. Other information you'll pull is from your own prior knowledge. Use valid reasoning that draws and extends the argument in the sources provided. So they'll likely tell you from U.S. News and World Report, from these different statistics. It might be from different growers of corn. The documents will vary. Support your claim with relevant and sufficient evidence from all 3 sources. Again, the rule of 3. And anticipate and address at least one counterclaim. You want to make sure as you're reading that you're thinking in the back of your mind what is going to be your rebuttal as well as what is going to be the things that you're supporting.
And here's the shorter response. And see, notice it's 1 to 200 words. And again, in this case, you're going to have to look at the pie charts and you're going to have to integrate the information in it from them into your response. And
again, 1 to 200 words is not a lot of real estate on a page. You're looking at 1 very long paragraph or 2 shorter paragraphs.
And so this is really focusing on the charts. So you need to look at the data that's presented there and understand it and explain it.
Exactly.
And here's how the ALST is scored in terms of the essays, the longer and short response, content analysis, use of evidence. Coherence and clarity is important. You might want to reread and edit.
Exactly. And that's why you want to organize ahead of time. That'll allow you the extra time to go back and edit any grammatical errors or any points in your argument that maybe are unclear.
I'm sorry about this jumping. And then here's the extended response. It's the same rubric or checklist. And our sources for this slideshow, you can see where we received this information. And we kind of went through this quickly. There's a lot of information here, right?
Exactly. So we encourage you to take the time to go through these slides slowly. And remember that if you're organized and knowledgeable about the format of the exam, it's going to make your anxiety less and it's going to see improved success on these exams.
And if you would like a longer video about how to write arguments and complete the ALST, this URL from Niagara University is posted on the State Ed website. It's very good, but it's over an hour long.
Exactly.
So, well, we hope that helps our students.
And good luck on your exams.